You're watching Console Conversations.
Hello everybody, it's me, Walter the Germany Ball, and welcome to the Console Conversations, the first ever holiday special episode. So today it's going to be me and Panic talking about the notable games coming out in the holiday season and which ones we're playing and which ones we recommend. So, Panic, if you want to go first with the first game you would like to talk about for the holiday season that you'd
Sure.
recommend.
Just recently, I got my hands on the new Call of Duty game. I haven't had a chance to play through all of it yet, but I've mostly been focusing on the zombies mode, as that's something I've been interested in for a really long time. And I think they've done a wonderful job. I think they've taken a lot of the things that kind of annoyed players, that maybe made the experience a little bit worse, and they just kind of improved it. So a lot of really good quality of life changes. They've started introducing some multiplayer elements into zombies, and that kind of makes things more fresh, and it might actually bring more players in, so it's not necessarily its own thing. It's completely separate from the Call of Duty formula. And yeah, overall, I think they've done a great job. So if you can, I would suggest getting your hands on that. I haven't tried multiplayer yet, so you can't quote me on that. I am a bit picky when it comes to Call of Duty multiplayer, but from the feel of zombies, I have a feeling that the multiplayer feels good too.
Okay, yeah, and I've certainly heard a lot about that game, and it looks really good, honestly, like the graphics and visuals and the way it uses the controller. And so the first game I'd like to talk about for the holiday season that I'd recommend would be Spider-Man Miles Morales. And Miles Morales is a very, very, very short game. I was able to get everything in the game in 11 hours. It's very quick. But you would know that I really do like this game. I really like the first one a lot, but this game is, in my opinion, even better. And it has such a good narrative. It's got really some pretty good uses of the hardware. The 60 frames per second, especially in the loading times, are just jaw-dropping. I think it's a great game. If you liked the first one, you're gonna like this one, like, no doubt about that. So, I do recommend Miles Morales a lot. And so, you can go with your next one.
The next game that I would recommend is probably Demon's Souls. I mean, it's the number one thing being marketed on the PS5 right now. So I'm sure everybody here has heard of it and probably seen some gameplay from it. Looks pretty amazing. Blue Point always comes in and does a good job when they do their remasters of games. It's definitely the easiest of the games, I would say, to get into. It doesn't really have as crazy fast combat as some of the newer Dark Souls games, or say something like Sekiro or Bloodborne. It's got a lot of depth to it as well. There are a lot of mechanics that aren't really that well explained, to be perfectly honest, but once you learn about them, it adds a whole new layer to the game, I think. So if you're looking to try something hard and challenging, but you don't want to, break a controller, I'd suggest picking up Demon's Souls just because it might be a good introduction to that style of game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the few true exclusives to the PS5. So, and I think that's really going to bring a lot of people to the console, and it's really going to make a lot of people happy. And I think it's a very good step for that series. I think it's going to help it to be a bit more PlayStation oriented, maybe in the future. And so my next game that I recommend is Bugsnax. So this is the second game I've gone over that I've already reviewed, but it's really just a great game. It's not perfect. It's not a masterpiece. It's not anything like that, but it is a very fun game that'll keep you occupied for like 20 hours. It's charming, it's got a great story, and I really do find the gameplay to be very fun and unique. So I definitely suggest getting Bugsnax, because, I mean, it's free on PS Plus. You can't go wrong at least trying it out. And even if you don't have PS Plus, it's like, I think, $30, which is not that bad, considering, like, Spider-Man is even shorter, and it's $50. So I think it's still a good deal, even if you're paying for it. So yeah, I recommend Bugsnax as well. So now, if you have a third game, you can go ahead and talk about that one.
I don't really have a third game that's specific to the PS5.
Oh, well, you can do any platform.
Okay, I haven't really been paying attention to what's been coming out recently. Can I just say a game that I like that people should buy and play?
That's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. Anyone on PC, you should play Hylics. It's amazing. It's a really, really good RPG. It's made by one guy, and it's one of the most interesting, weird, and unique experiences I've ever had. I would equate it to something like Earthbound, but even more kind of weird and experimental. So if you're in the mood for something indie and interesting that might make you think a little bit, then play Hylics. It's only $3. The second game is $20. So if you really like the first one, you can play the second one. And please support that creator. He's a really cool guy, and I think his work is great, and he deserves more attention.
Yeah. And so my the last big game I'd like to talk about is, there are many games that came out this holiday season, and most of them I would recommend, other than Cyberpunk. But this is the last of really the big three that I think are really worth it, and it's Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. I haven't played it much, but it is extremely fun and high quality. Like the first Hyrule Warriors, and I'm gonna save a lot of the details for when I review the game, but I'm just gonna say, from what I've played so far, it's really a huge improvement, because the first Hyrule Warriors, in my opinion, was one of the most repetitive, annoying, grindy games I've ever played, and I really was disappointed by it. But this game basically takes all of the really interesting mechanics from Breath of the Wild and really integrates them into the combat very fluidly, and it's really, like, wonderful that we're actually getting something that's going to dive deeper into the lore of Zelda, which I thought would never happen. So I would definitely recommend that as the #1 Switch game I would recommend. And yeah, so if there's anything else you want to talk about that you've been playing, or that you recommend to people, you can go ahead.
Nothing else really. I've mostly been going through some old games. Like I got Outlast recently, the survival horror game, and I also got Super Hot. Beat that in like a day. It was really cool. But people already know that those games are great, and they've probably already played them because they're so old. So nothing else really.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, Panic, and thank you for joining us to everybody watching. I know that most of the winter holidays are over by now, but I still hope you have a very nice new year, and you have a good time getting out of 2020. And yeah, so these games are some games that you might want to pick up and start playing, because we definitely recommend them. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. And this is one of the videos for the channel anniversary, so thank you for tuning into that. Be safe, everybody, and goodbye.